It's year 2 of Cody Worrell in Mineral Wells, and expectations are rising. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Jack Powell Ford Mineral Wells Football Show, right here on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media. And we are so happy to be back here for year 2 of this show. Thanks in part to Jack Powell Ford. You can find them at 1418 Southeast 1st Street in Mineral Wells. You can give them a call, 940-325-1331. You can also visit them online at jackpowellford.com. Get pre-qualified. You don't have to put your Social Security number in. It doesn't hurt your credit, but you can at least know what you can afford and what you need before you even start truly shopping, and you can do all that at jackpowellford.com. Now, let's talk some football. It's going to be a fun year, I think. I think not only is Mineral Wells going to be better, they're going to be in a tough district, but a district that a playoff path is very, very possible for the Rams. Of course, we know Graham and, of course, Brock. And you're going to have, Mineral Wells sitting right there, a team that I think that they feel can be third at worst. Then you're going to have a new team in Eagle Mountain. We don't know with the Knights. And Coach will talk a little bit about that in the show that, Jeremy Mullins, who took Toller to the state championship game last year, this is his first year there. This is a new program. They're very young, but man, that area, and we hear this all the time in Texas, but man, that area is exploding. And so that means there's a lot of kids, and a lot of kids means there's more likely going to be a lot of football talent. And I know they're very excited to be starting their football program there. You've also got Bridgeport with a new coach. You've got Burke Burnett, who, of course, Mineral Wells played last year. They're going to be solid this year. So this is going to be a very fun district, and I think a very fun year for the Rams. Now, if this is the first time you've ever listened, what we do each and every week is I have Cody Worrell join us, and we talk last week's game, and when we preview the next week's game, we'll talk some sub-varsity, we'll tell some coaching stories, and talk about his old playing days and all that fun stuff. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's Coach Cody Worrell right here on the Jack Powell Ford Mineral Wells Football Show on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media. Do you have a kid that plays sports? Are you yourself a weekend warrior? Then I'm going to tell you something. Check out NeuroGuardPlus.com. That's NEURO guardplus.com. It's a mouthpiece that can not only help with concussions, but can dramatically affect the way you perform. And the mission of NeuroGuard is to, of course, reduce the risk of suffering a concussion when participating in any contact sport, military, anything that you're doing physical that you could take a blow to the head. You might want to put in a NeuroGuard mouthguard. And as I said, it not only helps eliminate concussions, it helps you perform better by simply aligning your jaw properly. And that sounds like such a simple thing, but it is so important because it allows oxygen to get to your brain. And when you get oxygen to the brain, you don't have that fog of sports or that fog of war where you get confused. And if you've ever played football, that's a sport where that can happen. Especially, man, you're in there in the trenches and you take a shot to the side and all of a sudden things are spinning. This mouth guard will help you keep focus by, again, simply keeping oxygen going to your brain 100%. Again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com. And if you play sports, if you have a kid that plays sport, if you do something physical, one of the things that Dr. Hutchinson, the creator of this, was talking about was some people will use it when they're doing yard work and when they're mowing and things like that, where they're being physically active because they know it helps align their jaw and it keeps oxygen going to the brain, which also helps your lungs, by the way, when you can have full breath every time as you're performing. So again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com.
Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room and help with balance when I'm on the baseball.
Terry Bennett back here on the Mineral Wells Football Show, now joined by the head coach of the Rams for the first time in season in 2024, Coach Cody Worrell. And Coach, first off, we talked during coaches school. We talked about how great you thought spring had went, finally having a true off-season program. You've now played 2 scrimmages. So where do you feel the Rams are after those 2 scrimmages?
Well, we still got a lot of mistakes to correct. And, just getting into a rhythm, just like everybody else in the state. It's just, but I was pleased with how our kids' effort and, being physical and physicality and all the stuff that comes with first 2 scrimmages. That's what I was looking for the most. And, we got a lot out of it. We scrimmaged Peaster in Springtown, and both of those were good scrimmages for us, and so I'm pretty pleased after 2 scrimmages.
Yeah, a Springtown team that y'all had played in the regular season, you played them in the scrimmage. What do you feel after the 2 scrimmages are the strength of the Rams going into the season?
Well, right now, I'd say our strengths are our skill kids right now. We've got most of them back, and on both sides of the ball. Secondary and our wide receivers and running backs and our quarterbacks back, and that's definitely a strength for us. And not necessarily because of the skill set. It's more so of the fact that they know what's going on. They're not learning something new. And that's what the case was, last year. It's just trying to get our kids lined up right and making sure they understood how adjustments were made, what we can do with certain positions, and like I said, in-game adjustments. And so all that just being another step forward, another year forward has been a strength for us.
Well, and that goes back to what we talked about. You finally having a full off season to continue installing what you want to do. And I think that's one thing people outside of football don't understand. When you go to a program or when you have a new set of kids, you don't just throw the whole playbook at them 100%. You have to take it step by step.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, we're so further along this year at this time than we were last year at this time. Last year at this time, I bet we had 60% of our offense on. This year, we're 80 to 85% of our offense on at this time, and so that's been a good thing. And when you get that opportunity to be further along, you can really analyze what your strengths and weaknesses are into certain formations or certain sets or whatever we're doing offensively or defensively. What fits our kids the best? Not putting on what we're going to do and seeing if we're good at it because we got so much stuff to put on, if that makes sense. So it's definitely something that I've enjoyed, just having a true off season, summer workouts, and then going into the fall. It's been much nicer the second year than the first.
What are some things that you feel y'all need to clean up if you're going to have a successful season?
Oh, for sure. Number one is just penalties. We had some just holding penalties. Just, you're always going to get those, but, just playing cleaner game. We can always, be better up front. And our offensive line's doing a great job right now. They truly are. They're 5 brand new guys up there that have, and I say brand new, the guys that just have never played varsity snaps, together. And so when you do that, you're going to get mistakes. You're going to have, miscommunications. A kid's going to mess up a play. It's just new, not necessarily new to him, but just heat of the moment and just getting those guys. But they've progressed. I mean, seriously, from the first scrimmage to the second scrimmage, they took a big step forward in my opinion. And then, hopefully they continue to get better throughout the rest of the year. But no, we're going to have to play, turnover free, just good, clean football if we want a chance to do what we want to accomplish.
All right, your first game of the year is against a Polytechnic Parrott team that has struggled, but man, they have a ton coming back. They have a really good running back. Their coach, it's year 2. And I feel that they think that with the district they're in, they have a chance to make the playoffs. So you're getting a team that might have struggled the last couple of years, but the enthusiasm is very high over there.
No doubt. And they do a good job. And like I said, they've got, and that running back, you're exactly right. He's really good. He does a really good job, and he's one of those kids that could take it to the house any play. And they've got some good receivers, quarterback that does a good job of running their offense. And like I said, Coach Wilson, I talked to him several times, and he is, he's excited. Him and I are in the same boat this year too for us, and he does a good job. And like I said, our I told our kids this morning, I said, guys, I think they're licking their chops to play Mineral Wells because they're used to playing Grapevine and, Colville Heritage and some of those bigger schools that they've played in the past. And so they're going to be a hungry team, and we're looking forward to it on Friday.
It's funny. That was literally my next question was that they're, Mineral Wells has the reputation. And like you said, for them, it's just simply they're finally kind of playing in a district that I think they're going to be more competitive. And they do look at you as a team that they can beat. But you can use that to your advantage.
Oh, no doubt. That's what we. We didn't have the greatest practice in the world this morning, and I told our kids, I said, guys, I'm just telling you, they're not used to playing 4A Division II schools. I mean, they're probably licking their chops right now for a chance to come out and beat us. And like I said, our kids kind of had a wake up call with that. I don't think I give our kids a hard time about some things, and I always tell them like they don't realize that Fort Worth Polytech's used to playing those bigger schools and good programs, and they're just kind of licking their chops for us.
Let's talk about your non-district schedule, because I think that, I think for the most part you put together a schedule that works well with this team. And I know everybody always throws out, well, you need to play tough teams, or you need to play teams that you can win. And I always believe that a coach needs to try, and I know a lot of it sometimes is just trying to find a game because you can't find a game, but it feels like to me your non-district schedule fits where your team is right now.
No doubt we're going to get a bunch of different offensive going through that non-district schedule. Some spread, some are in the gun running the football, some are under center running wing T stuff, and I think that's great for us to see. But yeah, no, I love our non-district schedule. I mean, we go from Polytech to Iowa Park, which is always a tough team. Coach Winston does a great job over there. I remember going against him when I was at Brock, and he was still at Iowa Park as the DC under Aubrey Sims. And Eastern Hills will always give us a test, and then Quinlan Ford, they're going to be under center. They're going to be in the gun some. They're going to be very multiple on offense. So it's going to make our guys, put our guys in situations defensively where, they're going to have to think, and then they're going to have to adjust. And then, week 5 with Godley, Godley's always good. They've got a brand new head coach that's, probably re-energizing some of those kids. And I think that they're going to be, they're obviously in our region. So it'll be a good test to see where we're at before we get in the district.
Speaking of district, the more we look at this district, I think this is going to be a fun district. And we talked a little bit about that at coach's school. But also, I mean, again, not to sound cliche, but there's not going to be easy wins in 3-4A Division II this year.
No, there is not. With obviously Brock and Graham being top teams in the state, it's going to be difficult, and not just them. I mean, Bridgeport's got a new head coach and does a good job and re-energizing that program, and Burt Burnett as well. Coach Williams over there will always have kids playing hard, and then we talked about it during coaching school. Eagle Mountain, Coach Mullins is going to have those kids ready to go. I think that's the dark horse team of the district. I think that they've got some really, talented kids. They're obviously young. Juniors, they don't have a senior class, but I really do believe that they're going to be a tough team in the district as well.
Now, I know, of course, a win is what's wanted, but what's the main thing you want to see coming after this game from Polytech? What's the one thing you want to see your team do well?
I want to see our guys play fast, play physical, and play clean. I want no penalties. No. If it's an effort penalty, that's one thing. Big difference between an effort penalty and just a silly penalty. We have to fix, silly penalties. We had some in scrimmages, and then we had some coming off last year. We just got to fix and correct.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie, and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. As always, we want to thank the head coach of the Rams, Coach Cody Worrell, for joining us here on the Jack Powell Ford Mineral Wells Football Show. Year 2 for him. Week 1, 2024. I don't know why I just dictated all that. That way, in case you're listening in 2027, you'll know that, hey, that was from 2024. This is a good test to begin the things. As we talked about, Polytechnic, they're a program that struggled, but they've struggled playing grapevines and those teams. And for them now, not only this start of the season playing a 4A team, but in their district in 5A, I feel that they think that they can compete. And I think they're right. And so this is not your normal, hey, this is a team that hasn't won 2 or 3 games or more than 2 or 3 games for the last 5 or 6 years. And, you hit them one time and they're out. No, I think Coach Wilson has a lot of earned enthusiasm in that program. And I think this is going to be a very good test for Mineral Wells in week 1 of the season. I think this is a 50-50 game, and that's a good thing. I know Mineral Wells as a program, you're trying to notch more and more wins because, that's you've struggled over the last few years. But as Coach Worrell knows, the wins in non-district don't mean anything. It's getting better for district and make the playoffs and then start laying that foundation of success. And so it's interesting to see these two programs, both year 2 coaches, both with a lot of really solid talent coming back, both with some major questions as well. I think this is a great test for both of these teams. Want to remind you, if you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, you can email me, Terry at S2SSport.com. That's Terry at S2SSport.com. And we'll ask the coach. Now, some of these I end up asking later in the season because I go, okay, that's a good question, but I want that question asked later because it's more pertinent later on in the season, if that makes sense. Also, if you'd like to be a sponsor here on the Mineral Wells Show, we have Jack Powell Ford as our title sponsor. We still need a couple of other sponsors. Again, reach out to me, Terry at S2SSport.com. You can also text me, 469-605-3658, and just say, hey, I'm interested in sponsoring the Mineral Wells Show so I can know what town you're in, and then we'll talk about our packages. Anyway, until next time, which will be week 2, I'm Terry Bennett. This has been the Jack Powell Ford Mineral Wells Football Show on S2S Sport, part of L4 Media.